Hey everyone, thanks for clicking the video. I wanted to make a quick reaction video for the Browns releasing Sheldon Richardson. Kind of an expected move, or at least you anticipated a restructuring or a release with Jadeveon Clowney signing and us kind of being in some cap struggles. And quite honestly, I think this move was probably going to happen either way. I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns front office, Andrew Berry, reached out to however the hell it works, Richardson or his agent, and kind of asked for restructuring of his current deal, because I believe it was 12 or 13 million he was supposed to make this year, which is a lot. And keep in mind, I actually think Richardson was a good player. I thought easily he was one of the better players in our defense last year. Um, yeah, so it always stinks to get rid of good players, but nonetheless, I was pretty happy with his production that we had from him last year and even previous years as well. So I think got to give him kudos and credit for his contributions to the team. As far as Andrew Berry releasing him outright, and it sounds like we're not going to sign him back to restructure him. A little bit surprised by that. Not from the standpoint of Andrew Berry was the first GM I actually thought that would not be an issue of signing previous regimes guys. We didn't see that in year one where any of Dorsey's guys, for example, we didn't have Barry move on from, cut him randomly, or just release him, trade him. So I kind of like that. He was the first GM, I think, in recent times that kind of followed that, where prior GMs kind of wanted to make sure that it was their guys or the highway. And this is kind of the first case where that's not the case. And like I said, I thought Sheldon Richardson was a good player, but nonetheless, he was set to make that much money, 12 or 13 million. And I think for his production, which is good, not great, it's kind of I don't know. It's tough probably to justify that amount of money, especially when you have all these players that are going to be looking for contract extensions pretty soon. So while I'm a little bit disappointed in the move, I kind of understand it. For those people who are saying we're going to use this money to sign Gilmore, trade for Gilmore, like that's not going to happen. Let's be real. We're probably going to have this extra money just for additional cap space after the draft picks. So if we pick up some guys that get cut by other teams for depth purposes, or somehow we do like a midseason trade, we can afford that actually. But yeah, nonetheless, our D-line right now, it's kind of interesting. I don't think it's as strong as people make it seem. Obviously, Myles Garrett's an anchor, and he's one of the best players in the NFL on the defensive end. Besides that, I think there's a lot of question marks. Our D tackles are kind of like average to good at best. And then Clowney's Clowney. We all have our own take and opinion on him. If he could stay healthy, sure, but we don't know about that. McKinley, sure, kind of same situation to a certain degree. He hasn't met up to his first round expectations. It's going to be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if this kind of puts us in play for our first round defensive tackle pick, or even another edge rusher. Quite honestly, maybe have Clowney play more in the middle, right next to Myles Garrett, which is something we don't really think about. Again, why Sheldon Richardson's a little bit more expendable. And like I said before, or if I didn't say this, I think Clowney or Sheldon Richardson was kind of expendable even without the Clowney signing. Just due to the nature of his large contract. And when you're making that much money, you should be at least above average, like to pretty darn good player. And he's borderline, my opinion, just a little bit above average. I think he played a little bit better last year, also due to the fact that everyone else in our defense was completely garbage for the most part, outside of like guys like Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Harrison, you know what I mean? So he kind of looked more competent compared to the guys in our defense who weren't competent. But nonetheless, for that money, I think he's also a guy. If another GM took over, let's say Andrew Berry's job right now, he'd probably be one of the first few guys to get cut. Him and my guess, Austin Hooper. But yeah, so nonetheless, I wouldn't be too upset about this move. It's kind of cheesy, and everyone says it online, but in Andrew Berry we trust to a certain degree. I kind of agree with that motto. He's been decent so far for his first 15, 16 months, however long it's been, with the moves he's made. And like I said, we're going to probably see some big contracts get signed pretty soon for our own guys, and I think that's more of a telling sign of how this is going to go than releasing a guy like this. If anything, I could argue that should be more upsetting, those moves, if we don't sign someone or we do to too much money compared to just releasing Sheldon Richardson. And yeah, and as always too, we have the draft coming up in a week or two now, which is crazy. So don't count out anything with that. As we know, as Browns fans and just NFL fans in general, the draft is crazy. Whether that be players in the draft, whether that be trades, whether that be trades up, trades down, you name it. Guys getting cut because their team took a player that no one anticipated they would at a position. So yeah, we'll see. Nonetheless, they did release Sheldon Richardson, and wish him the best. He was a great dude. It seemed like him and Myles Garrett seemed like they got along pretty well. But hopefully we find a way to add some more depth at that position and just some more defensive guys that can dominate. So yeah, well, like I said, we got the draft still, and we'll see how it goes. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll talk to you guys next time.